CERN just cranked the Large Hadron Collider up to a new record, smashing protons together with higher energy than ever before, and some wonder if these collisions could be bending reality itself. Scientists are hunting for faint energy signals from a shadow universe that could be leaking into ours, and one researcher even claims there's a secret portal deep underground, letting non-human entities in and out. These are more disturbing signs CERN may have ripped through reality. Just back in May, CERN fired up the Large Hadron Collider again, this time hitting a new record with 13.6 trillion electron volts in proton collisions, higher than anything we've seen before. After 3 years of upgrades and maintenance, the collider is finally running at full power again, smashing protons almost constantly to collect massive amounts of data, and scientists are hoping to find new particles or forces that could explain some of the universe's biggest mysteries. The higher energy means collisions are more intense and more frequent, which also opens up the door to weird possibilities. Some wonder if extreme collisions like these could be doing more than creating particles we can detect. Could they be nudging the fabric of reality in ways we don't understand yet? Even if nothing visibly bizarre happens, every time the LHC hits a new energy record, there's a chance that something unexpected could be happening. LHC season is in full swing. If anything unusual were to happen, like tiny glitches in space-time, unexplained energy bursts, or subtle shifts in reality, this is the time. Now, CERN is actually hunting for signs of a completely hidden universe. Using the compact muon solenoid, or CMS detector, scientists have been looking for what they call soft, unclustered energy patterns. In plain English, these are tiny bursts of energy that don't form into normal particles like we usually see. And this sounds nuts, but there's a hypothesis that they could come from a hidden realm, sometimes called the Hidden Valley, a shadow version of our universe filled with particles we can't normally detect. The idea is that some of these hidden particles could briefly appear in collisions and interact with our world through a sort of mediator particle, creating faint signals that our detectors might pick up. These particles could decay into something called dark protons, which could, in theory, turn into ordinary particles like electrons or muons, tiny traces of another universe leaking into ours. Now, nothing like this has been detected yet. The experiments are brand new and super tricky. These energy patterns are faint and they spread out, so they're easy to miss among all the normal particles created in the collider. Still, the fact that CERN is deliberately searching for hidden realms in the first place, that's incredibly cool and a little unsettling. If these hidden valley particles exist, it means the collider could be brushing against a parallel dimension, even if only for a fraction of a second. And for anyone worried about reality itself, that's a pretty chilling thought. And if you think it's just randos on the internet thinking about this stuff, well, listen to this.
But it is more than that, because there are lots of physicians, I know some, they're doing very strange experimentation. There are beings from portals coming in and out. It's physicists from the CERN who told me this.
They've testified to beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes.
That's scientist and researcher Dr. Astrid Stockelberger from the University of Geneva, talking about things she apparently heard directly from scientists at CERN. She claims she got a rare inside look at CERN after dining with some of the lab's own researchers. According to her, they described a strange portal deep underground, like a door, that supposedly lets non-human entities come and go. She says these beings have also left behind objects and mentioned a connection between CERN and military research, hinting that some experiments might be tied to attempts at manipulating or altering time. Now, these are obviously extraordinary claims, right? And just because she's a scientist doesn't mean you should automatically believe whatever she says, but it is interesting to hear a scientist make claims like this. If there's even a grain of truth to her story, it could mean the collider is dealing with something entirely unknown. CERN scientists just built the world's first antimatter qubit. Antimatter is supposed to be the mirror opposite of regular matter, and when the two touch, they completely annihilate each other. That's why it's so hard to study. But at CERN, researchers managed to trap a single antiproton, keep it stable, and actually use it as a quantum bit, the same kind of unit that runs quantum computers. Now, this isn't about building the next laptop though. What they're really testing is one of the biggest mysteries in science: why anything exists at all. After the Big Bang, matter and antimatter should have canceled each other out instantly. If that happened, there'd be no stars, no planets, no people. Now clearly that didn't happen. That's where this experiment gets unsettling. Physics is built on a rule called charge, parity, and time reversal symmetry, or CPT symmetry. It's the idea that matter and antimatter are perfect reflections of each other and follow the same laws. But if this antimatter qubit starts showing behavior that doesn't line up, then that rule is not absolute. It would mean that the universe doesn't always follow the rules we thought it did. One thing a lot of people don't realize about CERN is just how powerful the magnets in the Large Hadron Collider really are. These are not like fridge magnets or even the ones used in MRI machines. CERN's magnets are over 100,000 times stronger than Earth's own magnetic field. They're powerful enough to bend beams of protons racing at nearly the speed of light and keep them locked in a circular path. Some folks worry that fields this strong could have side effects outside of the collider. There have been reports of compasses acting strange, birds veering off course, sudden drops in migratory patterns happening around the same year as CERN ramped up its power. Nothing officially linked to the experiments, but the timing has led to some questions. And it goes even deeper. CERN admitted their magnetic field has to be carefully contained, because if it leaked out in the wrong way, it could interfere with electronics and other equipment nearby. So there's this idea floating around that this kind of force might be bending more than just particles, that it could be affecting the very fabric of space. People online share some seriously strange experiences, and ever since CERN started doing their experiments, there's been this conspiracy that it's caused some issues with our perceived reality. On Reddit and TikTok, users have posted about suddenly losing track of time, like checking the clock and realizing an hour or more has passed with no memory of it. Could CERN's activities be causing reality glitches, time travel even, opening portals or altering timelines? Now, all this stuff is anecdotal and unverifiable, but they do add to this growing list of weird phenomena people associate with CERN. One Reddit user posted about how since CERN's Large Hadron Collider was turned back on, they've noticed more instances of the Mandela Effect, like misremembered logos and song lyrics. Is there hard scientific evidence linking CERN's experiments to this stuff? No, of course not, but the sheer volume of personal accounts is pretty interesting. CERN just kicked off something totally new at the LHC. For the first time ever, protons are smashing into oxygen ions. From late June to early July, the collider switched into a special mode. 2 days of proton-oxygen collisions, 2 days of oxygen to oxygen, and a day of neon collisions. Each type of collision creates completely different particle showers, giving scientists a crazy amount of data to study, everything from cosmic rays to what's called quark-gluon plasma, which is the super hot soup that existed just after the Big Bang. See, right after the Big Bang, the universe was insanely hot and dense, and matter as we know it didn't exist yet. Instead, quarks and gluons, the building blocks of protons and neutrons, floated around freely in a soup before cooling down to form normal atoms. So making these collisions happen is really tricky. Protons and oxygen ions act differently in the accelerator, so if you just let them go, they wouldn't meet, they drift apart. Engineers have to carefully adjust how fast each beam goes and how much momentum it has, so they smash together right in the middle of the LHC's 4 big detectors. CERN is now using AI to help run the Large Hadron Collider, and it's changing everything. The collider smashes protons together millions of times every second, creating a huge flood of data. And obviously, humans can't sort through all of it, so AI decides almost instantly which collisions are worth keeping and which ones to ignore. One of the strangest things scientists are studying is the Higgs boson. You can think of the Higgs like an invisible molasses that sticks to particles and slows them down. That sticking is what gives particles their mass, basically what makes them heavy enough to form atoms, planets, stars, everything we see. Without the Higgs, the universe would just be a soup of energy with no real stuff in it. Normally, we only see one Higgs at a time, but CERN wants to catch 2 at once to see if the rules about how it works are really correct. If it behaves differently than expected, it could mean something about reality itself isn't as stable as we thought. CERN scientists recently discovered something they're calling a ghost inside of one of their oldest particle accelerators, the super proton synchrotron, or SPS. It's a weird energy pattern that makes particles behave strangely as they race around the 4-mile wide ring. To break this down, imagine rolling marbles around a circular track. Normally they follow the path smoothly, but if the track wobbles a little or a marble hits a tiny bump, it can bounce or speed up in weird ways. That's what's happening with these particles. They're supposed to stay on this tight path, but tiny changes in the magnets make them wiggle and shift unpredictably. This effect is called a resonance, and it's like the particles are syncing up with each other in ways no one fully understands. Scientists can map it in 4 dimensions, basically tracking how it changes over time. And they're noticing these patterns can repeat, almost like the machine has its own heartbeat. If these ghosts, so to speak, weren't controlled, particles could scatter, lose energy, or create unexpected bursts of power. Ever since CERN began its collision experiments, people all across Europe have been reporting something unsettling. A low, constant hum. Some giant machine running underground. It's not coming from traffic, planes, or factories, and seismologists haven't tied it to earthquakes either. These hums often show up right after CERN is running intense experiments. Physicists at CERN haven't officially confirmed any kind of link, but some independent researchers think it could be tied to resonance. In simple terms, that's when, again, one vibration starts matching another and amplifies it. All those massive magnets and particles flying around at crazy speeds, it's possible the collider is making the ground itself vibrate. Some people even wonder if this hum is more than just a sound. Maybe it's a sign that the experiments are doing something weird beyond the lab. I've been your host, James. I will catch you, yes, you specifically, in the next video.